That is awesome. So, here. Well, you know, it's not really designed for a full-grown adult type person. Down the hill. They were driving under the trampoline over here just a few minutes ago. And look, there's a CP, not quite sunning herself. Good morning, Liz. Nice to have you join us. Ah! Crazy ladies. Go under! Go under! Duck! Pardon us just a second. Oh my gosh. I said duck. There it is. There it is. Didn't quite make it. Do you need some help? Do you need some help? Alrighty, that's good, that's good. Okay, alright, so. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, a little bit of frivolity. So we're going to talk today about how change can happen in an instant. And that can be a positive or it can be a negative. And those of you joining us in Dayton, we had, great, now Sky is driving. Don't let the stuffy drive too far. But for those of you that don't know, I mean, those of us in Dayton, we know, we had a giant storm last night. I've heard reports, don't know how accurate they are, but I've heard reports of the tornadoes touching the ground for about 40 minutes, running through town. Hey, there's an Asia. Asia, nice to have you. Thank you for joining us. But change can happen in an instant, and in this case, you know, we've had a couple of students of mine had houses destroyed. Liz's family, they had her parents had tree fall in part of the house. You know, that's our house doesn't have any trees around the house, thankfully, so not a lot of room for stuff to fall on us, partly by design. Even as much as I love trees. And change can happen in an instant. And most of the time when people think change, they think negative change. They think things taken away. And a lot of marketing, a lot of salespeople do a lot of scarcity type tactics because people are more afraid of losing. They're more motivated by the fear of loss, typically, than by the mindset or the concept of gain, right? The idea that, oh, if I just did this one thing, everything could change. And so a lot of times we look at it in our lives, things can change in an instant, but we think negative. So let me ask you, is there someone in your life, is there somebody important to you, and if you could just have one conversation be slightly different, if they could understand just one thing about you, about your world, about your life, about what thing is going on and why or whatever, if there's one thing to get them to understand and genuinely understand it, what would happen to your relationship? What would happen to your experience of life, your connection with this person? Right? It could totally transform. But a lot of times we don't know when we're going to have that conversation. We don't know how to have that conversation because we can think about it in the past. We have all these other times when we miscommunicated or we made a mistake or we said this and they reacted and all that stuff. So change can happen like that. Literally just pop and everything is different. Unfortunately, most of us, the references we have to that change, it's all negative. It's, oh, I got in a car accident. Oh, somebody was assaulted. Oh, somebody passed away. And we forget about, well, what about that moment when someone is born, right? I'm in some really amazing men's groups, and one of them, first-time fathers. These guys are like excited about being dads, and they're nervous and they're scared. A couple of guys are like, I can't sleep. I'm so worried. I want to be a good dad. Like, but then when they hold their baby, it's like everything starts to change. Everything shifts, and it's like that. Right? We build towards goals, and we want to make this change. We want to make these things develop. We want to make these things expand. I'm getting death stares from Evie because she has to go inside for a few minutes. You can come back out and drive. I'll be with you in just a few minutes, okay?
I think the battery died.
You think the battery died? Okay, we're going to put it back on the charger then. No worries.
Yep.
Okay, well, I love you, ladies, and I'll connect with you here in just a few minutes.
Yeah.
We're since Evie's out of school right now, we're kind of playing tag team and what does our day look like and where are we at in the next hour, managing a 4.5-year-old who's curious about everything. And right now, Mom is her favoriteest person in the whole wide world. So guess what we get to hear a lot? Mom, 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 did you, Mom, can you, Mom, can I, did you, and I'm like, right there. I'm like, dude, I'm right here. Mom's in the other room. Why are we yelling for Mom? Anyway, sidebar, tangent, squirrel. Change can happen in an instant. The thing is, a lot of times positive change, we don't realize, we see all the work that goes in ahead of time or the preparation, all that kind of stuff, and we don't see that, oh, everything's different. You know, it's very rare that somebody walks in and goes, well, here's $1 million. But what about getting that connection to a new person? What about a connection in a new relationship, right? So how do we make change happen? The biggest thing is you got to stay focused on your outcome. Stay focused on the result, the thing you want to deliver, the thing you want to achieve. You got to stay focused on that and not get sidetracked by all the other things that are going on in life. All of the miscues. Great. You learned what not to do. Don't do that again. Keep going, right? Because a lot of people fall into this trap and they think success is here and failure is there and I'm in the middle and I'm going to move away from failure. I'm going to move towards success. That's not how it works. If you've ever achieved anything in life, if you've ever made something happen, like, I don't know, learn to walk, get potty train somebody else, learn to talk, learn to write your name, learn to tie your shoes, learn to ride a bike. True story, my first 2 experiences of learning to ride a bike, my dad put me on a bike and he pushed me. And I went, boom, into the rose bushes. Ow. So then he picked me back up, he put me on the bike, and he like held me for a little bit, and he pushed me, and they let me go. And then the steering wheel turned, and I ate it in the stomach and fell over and wanted to throw up, and I was done. I didn't learn to ride my bike with my dad. Actually, it was the kids up the street. They ran behind me holding the bike seat, and I got some speed. I'm going. I'm like, hey, this is you're running really fast. And I turned to look to tell the kid behind me who was holding the seat, hey, you're running really fast. And the whole bike went, because I was like, there's nobody there. Wait, I got this. And then I just kept going, and that's how I learned to ride. I was 8 years old. Jamie learned to ride younger, and I did the same strategy, hold and run with him until he figured it out and he could hold his balance. Because he was on training wheels forever, and the truth be told, being on those training wheels actually limited his development. I've since done some more investigation. The Europeans take the pedals off the bike, and you learn to just glide, take your feet up and glide. Once you get that, then you put the wheels back on, you can work the pedals, because this is coordinated is difficult. Hey, Ava, nice to have you on. We are good. Just to let you guys know, we're down in Miamisburg, which is in South Dayton, on the kind of west side. And we have water, we have power, electricity, nothing got hit here. However, we did get sent to, well, we made the choice to go to the basement. At about 10:45, the alarms went off, and we went down to the basement, woke Evie up, took her downstairs. She was super confused. She's like, why'd you wake me up to sit in the basement? And then she kind of like was drifting, and she went back to sleep. About 11:15, we went back upstairs. Storms were north of us, unfortunately, did some damage. Downtown Dayton, I'm told, lost power. The water plant lost power. So, you know, that kind of change can happen. So, we're very thankful that we came through unscathed. And we have a couple rooms available. If somebody needs a place to crash tonight, not a problem at all. We'd love to have you. We have food. We have electricity. We have water. We have 2 bathrooms, plenty of showers, all that stuff. So, we got room if you need it. So that invitation is open to anyone. And so change can happen. And the idea of positive change versus the idea of negative change, sometimes we go through situations, go through a breakup and like, oh, it's the end of the world. It's the end of a world. It's the end of a perspective. It's not because your life will continue. Every major story has a plot twist. It has that pivot. It has that, I'm going one way and all of a sudden, plot twist, go somewhere else. And if you learn to ride those changes, instead of letting those changes ride you, life gets a whole lot easier. So how do you change? Well, the first step is you got to be committed to your outcome. You got to be committed to your result. We were supposed to be getting more possibly to us. Yeah, we've got like 2 to 3 more days of just kind of watch the weather and be prepared, unfortunately. So that means everyone's going to be stocking up on bread and milk and sandwiches. Like, why is it people do that? They're like, we got to get bread and milk. I'm like, why not get like caviar? Why not get like, I don't know. But I guess the fancy stuff doesn't really, well, it's expensive, but it doesn't really keep very well either. So, yeah, there you go. We have a couple of MREs in the house too, so if we need to, we've got nutrition. So, first step is be committed to your outcome. Be committed to your result. What is the thing you want to deliver? And then be flexible in cake. Yay, cake. Be flexible in the vehicle to get to your result. And then when you do that, it allows you to start being more flexible. And the more you practice being flexible and getting to your result, the more powerful you become. So I give you a quick quiz. Super easy. You guys didn't have to memorize anything. You didn't have to study. But what is 2 plus 2? Okay, cool. What is 5 minus 1? Oh, okay. What is 8 divided by 2? And what is 2 times 2? Right. So do you follow the addition school? the subtraction school, the multiplication school, or the division school, because there's different ways to get to the result. And even inside individual schools, addition, it could be 1 plus 2 plus 1 to get to 4. Or it could be 1 plus 2 plus, well, not 3, but 1 plus 2 plus 1. It could be 2 plus 2. It could be 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. Right? So there's the idea that we can multiply, and we can divide, and we can subtract, and we can add, and we can play these different strategies. But the person who has the ability to create more strategies is going to be more successful. They're going to be happier. They're going to be healthier. They're going to be safer, wealthier, wiser. They're going to have more opportunity. Does that make sense? Right. Now, I will tell you, some of my martial arts students made a drinking game out of when does Sifu say, "Do that make sense?" And then you take a shot. So you'll see them while I'm teaching class. They'll be in the back going, "Woo," in front of not in front of the kids. But every time I say, "Does that make sense?" Drink water. Stay thirsty, my friends. So I am looking for something that I think I lost. Give me 1 second. Ah, found it. So I am in the midst of finishing a funnel. I'm going to be giving away my #1 best-selling parenting book for free. And the gentleman I was working with, Brandon, he and I were talking about, the thing that's going to help parents really understand and really want to get invested and really want to make a change. Is like, okay, better communication with your kids, playing better games. Okay, why is that important? Why is it that playing a better game? Why? And it really came down to, hey, Carol, nice to have you join us. So it really came down to, for me, why am I so passionate about communication, playing games? Because a lot of the issues we have as adults came from when we were kids. And it was people not understanding, people not relating, people not appreciating the point of view or the world that we were coming from, and our inability to communicate forward and really help other people to understand us. So I'm very passionate about helping improve communication and just changing the behavior, the communication, the game, the way that we engage with our kids. You can feel happy and healthy and safe and wealthy and wise, and your kids can feel happy, healthy, safe, wealthy, wise, and you can help each other. Instead of it feeling like a competition, instead of it feeling like you're battling your kids because they don't want to listen. And really it came down to, why is communication so important? Because if your kids aren't listening, and that's the word listening that parents use, and maybe it's not that the kids need to listen, maybe you need to just shut up and do it with them. Maybe you need to ask them the right questions. Maybe you need to model it for them. Right? There's different ways to learn and different ways to get into the behavior that you want or the result that you want. And it's easy to say, hey, you listen to me. Well, your kids don't need to listen. A lot of times they're watching you. And they become the thing you are. Eee. Are you living the standard that you want for your life, that you want for their life? And so learning how to play better games with yourself, with your kids, really deliver the impact. You've lived life lessons. You've unlocked learning. You've improved your life. You've been through hardship. You've been through pain. You don't want your kids to suffer the same stuff. But if they're not listening, if they're not paying attention, if you don't know how to reach them, and you're busy judging yourself and your inability to connect, you can't be present for your kids because you're making it about yourself. Right? A lot of the advice I give in the dads groups is really about, these guys are like, oh, my woman, blah, 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 blah. And they're giving away all their power. They're giving away all their ability to affect change. Because they're putting it on someone else instead of like, dude, are you committed more to being right? Or are you committed more to being in love with this woman? Because if you want to be in love with her, then you got to get over being right. Because your goal is to get to the result. And you got to change your communication, change what you're pitching so they can catch differently. And that's hard for people to do because they're not used to change. They're not used to doing things in a different way. I've been doing this for over 24 years. Plus, I went and got master certifications in neurolinguistic programming, hypnotherapy, neurostrategies, additional modalities, additional strategies. And I'm always doing research. I'm always reading. I'm always expanding my awareness. And the reason for that is, the more different tools I have, the more different strategies, the more different ways I can shift, the bigger the resource I can be. Right? I have a feedback from a friend of mine. We did a session, and in the space of a little bit over an hour, we just took like 30, 40 years of drama and just dropped it out of her life. And it was just gone. Because she had a new frame and a new understanding. But even for me in my own life, when I was 26, I realized I'm the first me my parents ever raised. When they do it again, they will do it right. wow. And I could feel all this baggage. I didn't even realize I was carrying all these projections, all these unmet needs. I didn't even know I had all that stuff. And when I made that realization that next time they'll do it right, whew, all this stuff just stopped. All these little wheels inside my head and inside my heart, they just quit. There was no more squeaky wheels. There was no more this thing bothers me. I could understand my parents, appreciate them to to where they are in their life and their journey and their process, and not expect them to give me things that they can't because they don't have them. They let me forgive a lot. Forgive them, forgive me, forgive God, forgive the universe. And sometimes we need that conversation with that outside source. We need that person that is we're verbalizing and we're just kind of going bleh and spewing all our stuff and going through this story we've been telling forever. They ask just the right question to make us look at it differently, right? Because if I ask you guys, here, what do you see? And you're like, oh, well, I see some stuff. Okay, do you see a red line? Well, no. Okay, well, you're lying. Because there's a red line. And you're like, no, there's not. And I'm like, yeah, there is. And I'm like, no, there's not. And I'm like, yeah, there is. There's a red bar and it's full of text. Why aren't you're lying to me. No, different perspective. Because now all of a sudden, I see the expiration date. I see more information, right? I see a different perspective. Same thing, but we're getting it from two different angles. And we crash. And I said yesterday, right, the conscious mind runs about 137 bytes of data. Unconscious is 2 million to 4 million. There's a lot of interpretation. There's a lot of room for miscommunication, misunderstandings, all that kind of stuff. But it's on us to take control of the conversation as much as we possibly can. I cannot control what you give to me, but I can control what I give to you. Right? So in this funnel that I'm building, I'm going to have as just a free bonus, it's a class, what I call the 4-stage communication model, the 4-step communication model. I lay out all communication. Physical, mental, emotional, verbal, whatever, doesn't matter. But I lay out in 4 steps, here's how to unpack what's really going on and where you're getting stuck. And this is really a powerful tool because it allows you to begin to take control of the communication and really drive the point you want to get across to people. You can drive through because you understand their model of the world. You understand how they learn and how they process. Then you can throw in a way they catch. You can say it, they'll hear you. You can show them, they'll see it. You can ask, they'll understand. And isn't that what we all want? Is to feel heard, to feel seen, to feel connected? That's why I do this. Why have I been doing almost a month of free content? And I mean, is this good stuff? Has this been helpful for you? I know several people are like, oh, this helps get my day started, which I love to hear. But I'm taking this book right here. Your Best Child Ever. Is This Game Worth Winning? How to raise a stable, centered, respectful, self-disciplined, confident, self-motivated, self-directed, successful, wise, wealthy, safe, healthy, and happy child for the complete or not-so-complete beginner. I hear parents all the time, kids don't come with owner's manuals. Guess what? Right there, the owner's manual of children comes with a money-back guarantee because I know this stuff works. 24 years I've been teaching, interacting with families and kids. I was a train wreck of a kid myself. So this right here is the best I could do without having an actual conversation. Because when I actually talk to people, I can extrapolate, I can make new things, right? It's like playing chess without another person. I just throw the chessboard, I just throw the pieces out. I pick the 12 most important things that I feel and I've seen and I hear from parents. But if you have a specific concern, if you have a specific area of challenge, that's when it's time like, hey, let's book a call. Let's get together. I'll give you, 2, 3, 4 strategies guaranteed to help elevate what's really going on. And it's really hard to raise your kids when you're still fighting battles with your parents and still fighting challenges with your own family. It's really hard when you've got this voice in the back of your head tearing things down. That won't work, and that's not possible, and that's too hard. Yeah, you say that, but you don't do it. Let's just shut that thing up, right? There are programs I have, there are services I offer for that specific reason. And I made the request yesterday, I'll make the request again today. If you found value in any of these lives, go back, look at them, any of these videos. If you found value, by all means, share, tag, invite. Monday through Friday, I'm committed to delivering value and helping people win the game of life with themselves first, with their family second. Because if you're right with you and you're right with your family, everything else gets easy. How many people? They've got millions of dollars. They've got successful businesses. They've got great careers. They've got praise and accolade and wonder, drinking themselves into a stupor, suicide, affairs, because they're unhappy. They don't feel right inside themselves first, and then they feel disconnected from the world around them second. And they don't know how to bridge that. They don't have the confidence, they don't have the language, they don't have the skills, they don't have the beliefs. Whatever the case, something inside them says, you need to be in pain, you need to be this, that, and the other, and it drives them. So whatever success they can achieve in one area, other areas are jacked up. So the goal, my goal working with families and being a role model in that myself and holding myself accountable. Part of that, when I'm talking to you guys, also realize sometimes I'm talking to me. And I'm listening to everything I'm saying going, oh, that's important. I got to remember to do that. I got to live that. I'm saying it, but am I living it? So 6 areas: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual/social, financial, and then relationship, and personal, professional, intimate, right? And I know for me, my biggest struggle ultimately really is finances. And it's figuring out certain things or staying consistent with certain things, because there's a part of me that just says, I want money settled, and then I don't want to have to deal with it, because it just works automatically, and that's just not how it works. Even if you plant a flower, you still got to tend to the weeds, water, sun, pay attention, notice. So that's an area of growth for me personally, and Autumn and I continue to have those conversations and continue to make growth, which is awesome. I feel that's the final frontier at this moment. Get that addressed, our whole life, it transforms. Marriage is great, kids are great, school's doing well, love my mission. It's just getting clarified on that more and more. Yeah. So it's going through this marketing process and going, well, why am I doing what I'm doing? Who am I serving? I've done the video, martial arts literally saved my life. It did. It got me in a totally different direction. And without martial arts, I probably wouldn't be here, honestly. So I know the power that it has to shift and transform. And the work I do with parents, families and kids, seeing them start to understand, appreciate, work together. It's amazing when the kids start to understand their parents, the parents start to understand their kids, and they relate to each other in a different way. It's my favorite game, honestly. Aside from my own personal family, which is my absolute favoriteest game. So, if this is valuable to you, share it, comment. I've got an ad just came through yesterday, and it was someone saying about, when parents yell at their kids, they're traumatizing their kids, and it's like, ugh. No, not necessarily. Well, it's giving you insight into how they talk to themselves. No, not necessarily. Because you also have to filter in how the parents communicate, learning strategies, kids learning strategies. There's some other stuff in there. It's not so simple. And people, this ad, this post has been out for like a year, and people are commenting on it, making, oh, this makes so much sense. It's like, yeah, you're blaming instead of really understanding and unlocking. It's slightly more complex than the person is presenting. And correlation's not causation. That's the biggest issue there. Anyway, I'm going into the weeds, and I apologize. So, point is, how do you make change? Number 1, be committed to the result that you want first. Then, be flexible in approach. How many different ways can you get to 4? How many different ways can you get to the result? The more variety, the more strategy, the more powerful you become, the more powerful your life becomes. Okay? And, yeah, tomorrow or Thursday, we should be pushing out the free plus shipping handling for the book. I'm very excited for that, and I'm excited for feedback as well, and tweaking out some things, always making adjustments, because you got to tend to the stuff that matters, not just put it on autopilot. Anything you put on autopilot, be very careful, because it's a system that was built based on the thinking you had then versus as everything evolves as you evolve. So you always want to be calibrating, you always want to be adjusting those dials. And that's it. So you guys enjoy. I'm gonna go in and have some time with my family and work on some stuff and that great thing. And if you're in Dayton and you need some help, love to help you. If you are rocking and rolling, tell me about it. I want to hear. You guys make it a great day. I will see you when I see you, and we will ride the weather changes as they happen. Bye.